Hi, welcome back to Heels in Business Story Time. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. As you can see, I'm a bit more relaxed. I've got my usual gin and tonic, which isn't that uncommon for me. But the reason I'm relaxed is because I'm going to share with you a taxi story from Kazakhstan. I admit, the only thing I knew about Kazakhstan before this trip was from the film Borat. And yes, it was a very enlightening trip. For those of you that don't know where Kazakhstan is, I'm going to be super helpful and put a map here somewhere for you so you can see where it is. I was traveling to a city called, where was I traveling to? Almaty. And a little history lesson for you here. Almaty was the original capital of Kazakhstan. It then moved to a place called Astana, and apparently in the news lately, I just read in the news yesterday actually, that they renamed that capital, so same place, to Nasturlan or something. I could be totally wrong. It's named after their latest president or something like that. They've changed it again. This particular story is probably one of my most memorable taxi stories. Not only because I was pretty scared at the time, but essentially it was my own mistake. I was in that position. I'd made an error in judgment. Therefore, I'm sharing this story with you not only to and hopefully entertain you with the story, but also to educate you so that you don't make the same mistake as me. As a female business traveller, I am often travelling alone, and it's really important to keep my wits about me and stay as safe as possible. And I take various precautions to be able to do that. One of the things I always do is when I land in a foreign country is always use the official airport taxis. Certain countries like India, Russia and Saudi, I will often contact the hotel I'm staying at and organise a chauffeur through them. And that is usually my preference. So they will be there waiting for me when I get to the arrivals. And with Kazakhstan, I did exactly the same thing. I organised the taxi via the hotel. Before I get into the taxi story, I need to explain the follow-up, just so that you understand what state of mind I was in before I get to my taxi. I left home on a Sunday. It was around 2:30 p.m. I got to Heathrow and my flight was taking off about 5:30. This journey was an indirect flight. I needed to go from Heathrow to Astana, which you now know is the latest capital, although it's not because they've changed the name. But that's where I was flying to. From there, so that was about a 7-hour flight. Then I had a layover in Astana, and then I had to take a flight from Astana to Almaty. And that in itself, first of all, I was traveling in economy, and I'm not as good now. I used to be able to sleep wherever I go, and it wouldn't matter if I was in economy or not. Now I really struggle. Maybe I'm a bit precious now. I like to lie flat, so I do like a business class seat if I can get one. Therefore, I hadn't been sleeping, and by the time I got to Astana, I was knackered anyway. Then I had the layover. Let me just tell you about this. I landed in Astana and it was freezing cold, and I had to walk from one terminal to the next terminal to catch my connection. It probably was no more than a 10-minute walk from one terminal to the other. It was minus 17 degrees, and I cannot describe to you. The coldest I've ever felt before was probably -5, -8. In the UK, it doesn't, especially south of England, it doesn't get that cold. Minus 17 degrees was shocking to my body. And those 5 minutes, 10 minutes were, I really struggled with that. And I don't even know how to describe it. So I was freezing cold and tired. And maybe when you're tired, you're cold. But I was cold and tired. I got my flight to Almaty. And at this time, I've probably been traveling door to door for around 15 hours, no sleep, and almost awake for a full day. I am knackered at this point. I've landed in Almaty. I've only done this trip with hand luggage. So I'm off the plane fairly quickly and I get to the arrivals. Because I've organised the taxi through the hotel, I'm expecting a card with my name on it. Now the first thing I notice is that there's lots of cards, lots of people in the arrivals hall. It's not a massive arrivals hall, but there were quite a lot of people. And the first thing that struck me was the alphabet. All the names on the cards were in the Russian alphabet. Now I'm thinking, I can't see my name. But would they have put my name in Russian, and therefore I don't know if my name is on any of these cards? So I'm standing around looking, and often when it's a hotel they have their name written on the card, and I can't see any of this. The arrivals hall is full of taxi touts as well. They're coming up to me asking me, do I want a taxi? Kind of, because I don't know if they're talking in Kazakh or Russian. And I'm saying, no, I'm fine. I'm standing there. I give it a good 10 or 15 minutes and I think, okay, I have no idea. Maybe they're here, maybe they're not. Therefore, I get my phone and I call the hotel. I get on the phone to the hotel and they say, oh, you're here? I said, yes, of course I'm here. I'm here, landed pretty much on time. They said, oh, we thought there was a problem with your flight, so we cancelled the driver. And I thought, okay, great. And I'm knackered, I'm tired, and it's the last thing you want to hear at that point. The hotel are very apologetic, but because of the distance they are from the airport, they say to me it's going to be quite a while before they can send someone to pick me up. Therefore, they suggest that I get one of the official airport taxis to take me from the airport to the hotel. I say, okay, that's no problem, but I've done this trip without any local currency. Not that it's relevant for this story anyway, but I say to them, I don't have any currency. They say, do not worry, just get in the taxi and we'll sort the money out when you get to the hotel. And I think, okay, yeah, no problem. At this same time, there's lots of, as I said, there's lots of taxi touts. So they're noticing that clearly no one's picking me up. I then proceed to leave the arrivals hall to exit the airport. And I'm looking for the signs for airport taxis. And it's like any other airport, there's usually big signs saying taxis. I'm following that route. And one of the particular taxi touts that were in the hall was following me as I was leaving. And it was quite annoying. And I did that thing of even pretending I was on my phone just so that he would go away. But no, he was dead set on following me all the way out. I see the sign ahead of airport taxi, I think, okay, great. You know, I'm just going to get in this taxi and it's fine. Come out the airport, turn round the corner. I then see a row of taxis. I'm thinking, great. And they have taxi sign on the cars itself. And I'm thinking, oh, a row of taxis. This must be it. I see the first one, as you normally do, you go to the first taxi, a guy comes round, he calls for me, I'm like, yeah, great, I get in his taxi. At this point, I give him my bag, I go into the car, and I do pick up on a very odd exchange between him and the guy that was following me, as if the taxi driver that I'd got in the car with, he was like, yeah, mate, you've just lost out. And I thought, okay, that's a bit strange. But I think nothing of it because I'm thinking, well, official airport taxi tout, maybe that's why that exchange was happening. I get in the car. This taxi driver, kind of an elderly guy, seemed okay, quite rough around the edges. I didn't think much about it. He starts driving off. As he drives away from the airport, I then look to the corner and then I see a big sign, airport taxis. At this point, I'm thinking, damn it, I've not got in an official airport taxi. I've got into some random guy's taxi. And I think, well, there's nothing I can do now. Own it. I thought, okay, he seems friendly enough, it's going to be fine. He then proceeds to leave the airport. This is where the story, you know, for me, the journey starts to get interesting. Probably at this time, it's 8 a.m. in Almaty. It's chaos. The roads are super busy. There's cars overtaking, cutting each other up. Absolute chaos. He then takes out a dash cam. And I'm thinking, great, he's a safe driver. He's going to take his dash cam so he can capture all of this. And I think, yeah, this is good. He puts his dash cam on, and I can only describe that he's put his dash cam on to record what is the most scariest journey that I can imagine, to record his own terrible driving through intersections. It was something, the only way I can describe it, it's a bit like a game, Need for Speed, Burnout game. He was zooming through, so anytime there was a break in the traffic, he was zooming through at junctions with traffic lights. There was lots of near misses. And at this point, I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing here? When I'm in a taxi as well, and this is regardless of where I am, even in the UK, I do this, I get Google Maps out because I like to check that there's a couple of things. One, that the taxi driver is actually taking me to my destination. But two, that they're not taking me around the houses to charge more. So I had my Google Maps and I'm like, okay, well, at least he's taking me in the direction that I need to go. So this is good. Almaty is quite an interesting country in that, especially near the airport, I wouldn't say it's the nicest of looking areas. It was pretty rough. I go into this survival mode of thinking, okay, now if this goes wrong, do I need to get out of the car? What do? Do I just leap out? Can I just open the door? It's just crazy stuff that I start thinking. I then clock that his fuel gauge is, the light is on, and it's very emptiest at this point. I'm thinking, okay. And I look at my phone and I can see that there's 30 minutes still to go of this journey of him driving ridiculously. And I think, is he even going to make it? And he's zooming through. And then at some point he then kind of stops and says, and his English is not great at all, but he tries to convey to me about the price. And he says, you'll pay X amount, right? And he says this figure in local currency, which I have no idea what it means. And I didn't even know how much it would cost to go from the airport to the hotel, because the airport was supposed to bring the driver, the taxi for me. So I had no idea how much it was going to cost. So when he said the price, I just said, meh, yeah, okay. At this point, I didn't care. I just wanted to get to the hotel. But I also tried to say, hotel will pay, hotel pay. And he kind of nodded. He was a very funny looking guy. He was missing quite a few teeth. It was quite funny to watch, but he seemed to like, okay. He took what I said and it was fine. So he carries on. I'm looking at his fuel and I'm thinking, I really hope no one crashes into us at this point. I just want to get to the hotel in one piece. He then pulls into a fuel station and I think, oh, okay, he's obviously realised that he's going to run out of fuel, so he's going to get some fuel. Pulls into the fuel station and then turns around to me and says, money. And I'm like, I don't have any money. And he's like, but I need fuel. And obviously this conversation isn't going too well because neither of us can speak the same language. But I'm gathering he wants me to pay for his fuel. And I say, no, I have no money, hotel have money. And then he sits there for about a minute contemplating. He goes, hotel money? And I said, yeah, hotel money. And then he's like, okay. And I think at this point he's wondering, well, she seems like she's legit. She's going to a hotel. I can go to the hotel and ask for money. And therefore he's calculating to himself whether he carries on or not. I mean, surely I'm hoping he wasn't thinking of just leaving me there at the fuel station. He then carries on the journey. So he backs out of the fuel station and he continues the journey towards the hotel. And I'm watching this all on my phone thinking, I just can't wait at this point to get to the hotel. We're probably a few minutes away at this point from the hotel. And there's a lot of one-way roads near where the hotel is. And he has to take a particular turning to be able to get to the hotel. And I noticed that he misses it. So he goes straight past the road that he was supposed to, and it suddenly breaks. And then I can see that my phone is recalculating the route. I think, well, he just needs to go around the block and come back round. No. This isn't what he does. Why go round the block when you can reverse round? So he stops the car, and the road that the hotel is on is actually just by where we are, but it's a one-way road with traffic coming the other way. So what he does, he then proceeds to reverse his car up the road where the hotel is to save himself, obviously having to go all the way around. He's running out of fuel. Kind of understand this better now in hindsight. This one-way road is 4 lanes. Yeah, there were 4 lanes to this road, and it's quite a high-speed road as well. I would say they were going around 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour down this road. Remember what I said, these people drive like maniacs on the road, so they're just going down this road. He then reverses round the corner and proceeds to reverse up the road. And he had at least, I would say, a good, in my mind it was half a mile. It probably wasn't, but it felt like forever that he had to go up this road. Literally slams his foot on his accelerator in reverse and reverses at speed up this road, and there's cars going past. We reverse past a coach, and I'm thinking, I'm going to die. This is it. I've almost made it to the hotel, and this is it. My death is going to happen in Kazakhstan. Most people won't even know where Kazakhstan is to know where I died. I'm also thinking, actually, if I just take a step back here, this is some pretty skillful driving, because he's weaving as well. So he's not just going straight, because in Kazakhstan there's no order as well. Especially down this road, there were cars kind of parked on the side as well. And he's going round, and he finally makes it to where the hotel is. Honestly, at this point, it was literally a sigh of relief. I was like, I think I've just made it. And he then he turns into where the hotel is, and I can't describe at this point, my heart rate went down and just how relieved I felt. I literally could have just ran out of that car, and yeah, I would have hugged anyone at that point just to know I was safe. He gets me to the reception of the hotel, and I say to him, obviously the hotel are paying. He makes a beeline straight for the hotel staff. He gets my bag out. The hotel staff know I was coming, so they straight away kind of pulled me to the side and said, look, don't worry about him. We'll sort you out and check you in. They were, very apologetic. They said, sorry. And I'm knackered. I don't know at this point how long I've been awake, but I am so tired. Bit nervous from the adrenaline as well. It's hard to describe. And I thought, I can't believe I just put myself in that position. As I'm checking in, I can tell that there's an altercation happening to the side as well. And it's happening in their local language. Therefore, I don't know what they're saying, but there's some altercation. And then the taxi driver starts coming up to me saying stuff. He's like, yeah. And I don't know. And they said, just ignore him. And then he does it again. And they said, look, he's complaining because of the price. He said he's agreed a price with you. And they said, did you agree this price? I said, well, whatever he said, I didn't understand. So yes, I did, but I don't know what it should be. And they said, well, that's too much, how much he's asking. He's asking for way too much. We're going to pay him the rate that is normal for that journey. I'm like, okay, well, to be honest, this is really your problem. You should have picked me up, and you deal with it with him. So they're going back and forth. They give me my hotel card, to get my key card to get in the room, and I get into the elevator, and literally there was a huge sigh of relief. Get into my room, and I just felt really happy at that point. I've made it. Yeah, it was a very long journey. It wasn't a direct flight. I hadn't slept. I thought I was going to die. And at that point, it's the simple things in life. I was just happy to be feeling safe in a hotel room and get some sleep. I composed myself. I think I changed my clothes, showered. I felt a bit groggy, as you normally do after a very long journey. Relaxed into bed, and I thought, I wonder how much money they were arguing about. So I got on my phone, I have the XE app where you can have all the different currencies. I thought, okay, let's put it in. So I put in his price and the amount that the hotel was saying that he was charging over. It turns out that they were arguing over £1. £1, so that is a little over $1.20 at the moment. And it's funny, at that point, I actually felt really bad for him, because that obviously meant a lot to him. And if I'd known it was £1, I would have just said, it's fine, just pay it. But obviously there was a point for the hotel staff where, no, you can't ask for that much. But for him, he's working, £1 makes a difference, would have helped towards his fuel. So yeah, I kind of left, my last thoughts for that day was, I guess every day is a hustle. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story. Looking back, I'm I actually find it quite funny. My takeaway for you is getting the official airport taxi. Have those eyes open and look, and do not make the same mistake as me. Please let me know what you thought of the story. Comment below. If you've got any stories, please tell me. I hope you enjoyed this. It's a bit different from me, but I really enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed sharing this story with you. Please like it if you did enjoy the video, and subscribe. Thank you for watching Heels in Business Storytime.